On this edition of Memphis Energized, how two programs hosted by MLGW are encouraging the next generation of engineers. Also coming up, how small change can make a big difference for our neighbors in need. And President and CEO Jerry Collins sits down for a talk about the state of MLGW. We'll talk about those stories and much more on this edition of Memphis Energized. And welcome to Memphis Energized, a half-hour television program that features important news from Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. I'm your host, Michelle McKissick. Our first story highlights two programs co-organized by MLGW Engineers, which are aimed at inspiring the next generation. Jared Taylor files this report.
In early October, a distinguished group of engineers visited an MLGW facility for a very innovative exhibit. What was really special about this event is that the average age of the participating engineers was about 13 years old. In an effort to promote STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, TVA and MLGW's Professional Development Group, JEPE, hosted a robotics showcase for students. JEPE stands for Junior Engineer Professional Engineer. Carol Welchel works in gas engineering and is the current chair.
We've invited 9 schools, grades K through 12, to come show off their different robotics creations.
There were robots that picked up objects and robots that could throw a ball. One school designed a robot with a potentially life-saving purpose.
Our project is our exhibit from the best robotics competition that happened last week in Starkville, Mississippi, where basically it's like a practice course for trying to save people out of a fire. So that's what our robot is designed to do.
Welchel sees great value in encouraging the students to invent and explore.
I think it's very important for young people to get involved in STEM activities because in the future we are going to need them to be our engineers, our designers. We're going to need these creative minds to be solving our problems of the future.
According to the U.S. Department of Commerce, 6 out of 7 engineers are males. Recognizing that disparity in the number of women in STEM-related careers, Welchel was pleased to see the number of girls participating in the exhibition.
We have 2 teams here this year that are all girls, which is exciting. There's a lot of development in trying to get women more involved in STEM careers and the STEM profession, and so they're doing that at the high school level and younger, so it's very encouraging.
Michelle Wynn, a senior, is on White Station High School's co-ed robotics team. Wynn offered words of encouragement for young women, and really anyone, who may be intimidated by the idea of joining a science club.
Don't hold yourself back because you don't think you can do it. Just go out there, try your best. If you don't get on the team or succeed in whatever you're doing, definitely try again because your life's really not over. You've got so many more chances.
For Memphis Energized, I'm Jared Taylor.
Thank you, Jared. Today we have a very special guest with us, Jerry Collins, the President and CEO of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water. Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
We're wonderful. Glad to have you here with Memphis Energized. 10 years at the helm of MLGW. A lot of folks are talking legacy. What is next after a decade? What do you think your legacy will be?
Legacy. Since day one at Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, I've always said that we must always do that which is in the best interest of the customers as a whole. And anytime there's a decision, we just ask ourselves that question: what is in the best interest of the customers as a whole? And I hear my employees repeating that phrase over and over again as they go about their work at MLGW. And if that can last and be a phrase that they use going into the future for years to come, then that would be a great thing in my mind.
That's wonderful to hear that. That's always the driving force behind all the decisions, of which many have been made over the years. What do you believe your biggest challenge has been for the utility company?
Well, there's been a lot of challenges, and I think one of the challenges is trying to help improve the self-esteem of the community. I've always told the staff that I think one of our purposes is to do our part in improving the self-esteem of the place that we live in. And sometimes that's difficult, and sometimes the news media in general kind of goes out of their way to hurt the local self-esteem. But I've always said that one of my goals is for someone who previously had moved away from Shelby County, maybe to North Mississippi or to a different part of West Tennessee, one day moves back to Memphis, and when asked why, one of the reasons is because they missed Memphis Light, Gas, and Water.
That's really interesting, because I wouldn't have thought that'd be something to talk about in terms of self-esteem, in terms of a utility company. You know, I'm thinking maybe the Visitor and Tourism Bureau, but it's fascinating to approach it from that real personal, people person aspect of it.
Well, you know, MLGW has the best drinking water in the country. It's easily the best. And we have the lowest utility rates in the country. And those are two pretty good things. And if you call us on the phone, you're going to be on hold for less than 20 seconds. And so good service, cheap service, great quality water. I think those are things for the community to be proud of.
That is something to be proud of, for sure. So, but during your time here, do you think there's been an opportunity that was not pursued that you would have liked to see done, or maybe moving forward that the next person?
No, I have no regrets. Everything's good.
All right, it's all good. So, the city of Memphis, it's seen its population decline over the years. There's been just transition. How has that affected MLGW, and what measures, if any, has MLGW taken in this new environment of transition?
Actually, the customer base has been pretty flat. It dropped a little bit after the recession, but then it came back up. What has dropped is consumption of energy, power, and the consumption of water. So with the implementation of all kinds of federal rules, so that now washing machines use less water, air conditioning systems use less power, et cetera, over the years, there's been a decline in the use of electricity, a decline in the use of natural gas, and a decline in the use of water. But we have all this infrastructure in place as if all of that was still being used. So then it becomes a challenge with your rates. How do you recover fixed costs and variable costs with a stable customer base but declining usage?
How do you think, in terms of everyone's talking about solar energy, whether we really understand it or not, but new ways of approaching energy, how will that impact MLGW moving forward or accommodating? Are you all thinking about that now?
Sure, and solar energy has been kind of slow to catch on in Memphis and Shelby County, but you're going to see more of it in the future. And as it does become more prevalent, it would be a good thing if TVA is very involved with that, if Memphis Light, Gas, and Water is very involved, and it's also appropriate that we have the appropriate rate structures in place so that as a result of the adoption of solar power or wind power, that everybody is paying their fair share and no one subsidizes some other customer.
Interesting. So a lot of curious things coming down the pipe in the future. So now, another subject that's been really popular of late is the TVA and how they began drilling into the aquifers where our drinking water comes from. There has been some concern from many residents regarding this, and especially now since arsenic was found in TVA's shallow monitoring wells. Are these wells a threat to our drinking water?
Well, it's interesting that with this information being in the news, that some of our customers think that our drinking water is threatened now, today. And customers are asking questions like, are you going to send us bottled water? Which is not the case at all. We still have great drinking water. The arsenic is not in our drinking water. And the arsenic is actually in a very shallow well that's about 50 feet deep that's on the bank of McKellar Lake. And it would be just about impossible for that arsenic to get into one of our wells that supplies drinking water. So our customers should not have any fear of the quality of their drinking water based on these news reports. But it's something that we ought to watch and monitor so that we don't have any problems 40, 50, 60 years down the road.
So just to state that very clearly again, our drinking water is good and as tasty as it's ever been.
We have great drinking water. It was great 10 years ago, 50 years ago, and it's great today, and it'll be great in the future.
That's good to know. Very reassuring, I'm sure. So, next question regarding the storm. It seems like we've been having more intense storms of lately, and the last one, the one that we all kind of affectionately called Tom Lee storm earlier this year, the city experienced significant widespread outages, and we can't control the weather, obviously, but what is MLGW doing to mitigate these outages and improve restoration times during the next weather event?
We are going to outlaw storms.
Makes sense.
Some years we don't have major storms, and I call a major storm any storm that knocks power out to more than 30,000 customers. This year there's been 4 major storms, and the record is 5, which occurred in 2011. So storms have been more on people's minds because we've had more of them this year. Some years we don't have any, but this year there's been 4, and one of those was the Tom Lee storm, which knocked out power to 188,000 homes and businesses, which makes it the 3rd largest outage event in our history.
Wow.
And so what are we doing? We spend $12 to $13 million a year trimming trees along power lines. Memphis is a city of trees, and the trees are getting bigger and bigger. And if you go up into a 5 or 6 story office building and look out across the city, all you see is trees and church steeples, and that pretty well defines Memphis.
Yeah.
So we have to trim the trees away from the power lines. Secondly, our electric power distribution system is becoming much smarter so that we can isolate outages to a smaller group of customers, and so that we can have a better recognition of who is without power and restore power more quickly. And when we do have a major storm, we spare no expense in getting the power back up as fast as possible.
I've noticed that because I've seen personally just crews from other states here, and it seems like there was really a concerted effort to have all hands on deck.
During the Tom Lee storm, there were 101 electric distribution crews here from outside of Shelby County helping us, as well as 78 tree trimming crews, and that's the largest contingent of contractor crews that we've ever had working on a storm.
Wow, that's impressive. Well, in terms of energy, we talked about it a little bit earlier. You mentioned about wind and solar energy. Can you explain MLGW's current alternative energy? Do you see solar having an impact on other residential and commercial customers in the near future and even into the next decade?
Solar power is going to catch on more slowly here in Memphis and Shelby County. Part of the reason is that we have really low rates, and the price of natural gas is quite low as compared to what it was 10 years ago. And natural gas is going to be a very cheap energy source for decades into the future. So that hurts the possibility of solar being more economically viable. But solar will be a energy source that will grow over time, and it's appropriate that we make sure that we're ready for it, especially in terms of having a rate structure in place that's appropriate.
All right, so you guys are well planned. How often, or when you all meet, or whomever the powers that be at MLGW, in terms of mapping out the future for MLGW and anticipating what's next?
It's a constant process. Planning is something that we do frequently. My executive staff has a retreat twice a year just for the purpose of planning, of looking into the future to see what's coming and to make sure that we're going to be ready for it.
All right. One of the challenges that Memphis as a whole we deal with in many facets is the poverty rate here. It is significant here in Memphis, as it is, I'm sure, with other larger cities. But recognizing that any entity, including a utility company, can operate without positive revenue, how does MLGW assist customers, particularly the most vulnerable customers, our senior citizens, disabled, who have trouble paying their bills? And I know that's always a concern as we are getting into these colder weather months.
So MLGW has one of the most liberal payment and credit policies in the country. We really bend over backwards to help people so that we don't have to cut off their power. But we have a lot of programs in place that helps customers in a very proactive way. As far as I know, we are the only utility in the country that has a rental property inspection program. So if you rent a house or an apartment, you can call MLGW and we will inspect it and make sure it meets certain minimum energy efficiency requirements. And if it doesn't, then we can go to the landlord and tell the landlord to fix these problems. And if the landlord doesn't, then we take the landlord to court. So this is something which has really improved the quality of life for hundreds of customers across Memphis and Shelby County, and something that more people ought to take advantage of.
I think it's something, when you're thinking about MLGW, you think about the homeowners, those residents, but there are so many people who are dwelling in apartments. But even for homeowners who may not be aware of the resources, like the energy doctor that you were talking about and how they can come out to your home, that's a service you all offer.
Free energy audits, and we've also gotten many grants over the years from various sources, federal government, TVA, that we put into helping people improve their heating and air conditioning systems, their appliances, their windows and their doors, so that we can make their homes more energy efficient.
That's really wonderful. I guess another program that I'm wondering how that's going, the formal name of the Pennies program and opting in and opting out, how is that being received by the community?
It's being received very well. This is the right thing to do. It means that you're rounding up your bill to the nearest dollar, and those few cents a month goes to help people that live in homes that are not energy efficient, so that we can make improvements that will make their living conditions better. It's all about improving their quality of life and their economic well-being.
And that's something that you touched upon at the beginning of our segment here, where we were talking about MLGW is not just this power company. It's really, it comes down, everything comes back to the people and how to help out, folks in this region, Memphis and Shelby County.
Memphis Light, Gas, and Water is owned by the people of the city of Memphis. It's not a for-profit company. It's there strictly to benefit the people that live in Memphis and Shelby County.
All right. So, you've been at the helm for 10 years. Any idea of who's coming up next or how that replacement is being handled?
The president and CEO of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water is an appointment made by the mayor of the city of Memphis with approval by city council. The mayor has hired a search firm to gather applicants. They will determine who the finalists are. They will be interviewed, and then I'm hoping that a selection will be made for my replacement sometime close to the end of this calendar year.
And so when is it? That's coming up pretty close. How about you? When does this wrap up for you?
My target date is December the 19th of this calendar year.
All right, then. So you're a short timer.
That's right.
What's next? What's out there for you?
More fun, less stress, more time with the grandkids. Those are the important things that I want to focus on and concentrate on going forward.
Explore all the good things that Memphis and everywhere else has
Sure.
to offer. All right, well, we wish you all the best. We thank you so much for joining us here on Memphis Energized, and just for the folks here at Memphis, just to hear directly from you, just like what MLGW has meant for you in your 10 years. And is there anything particular that you're most proud of that's been accomplished over this past decade?
Most proud of? I would say the fact that we have the lowest combined utility rates in the country for the last 5 years in a row is a major accomplishment. MLGW is very sound from a financial standpoint, which just shows that you can eat your cake and have it too, because we're very sound from a financial standpoint, despite the fact that we have very, very low rates.
All right, then. Well, thank you for being here, and best wishes on your retirement.
Thank you.
Enjoy those grandkids.
I appreciate that.
All right, don't go away. There's more Memphis Energized after the break. Stay tuned.
Share the Pennies needs your change to make a change. You can help ease the burden of a neighbor in need of home weatherization repairs. Your small change is all it takes to make a big difference. You may choose to opt out anytime, but for less than $12 a year, why would you?
I'm in.
I'm in.
We're in!
For more info, visit our website or call 544-6549. All you have to do is care.
Welcome back to the show. Beginning in January, changes are coming to MLGW's Share the Pennies program, which will allow it to help more of our neighbors who are in desperate need of energy efficiency repairs. In the past, participation in MLGW's voluntary bill roundup program has traditionally been very low. However, in an effort to model utilities like Knoxville's KUB, a group of community activists and the Memphis City Council worked with MLGW to redesign Share the Pennies to make it an opt-out program that will launch at the start of 2018. The bottom line is participation and donations are still voluntary, but if you don't want to contribute, you can opt out, either online, at a community office, or by calling MLGW. For anyone who participates, it averages about $6 a year, and the maximum contribution will never be more than $11.88 annually. Pulled together, these donations can help make a huge difference.
Now, if you do not want to use your money in this way, MLGW has set it up so that you have a variety of ways to say no thank you. At this time, I would not like to round my bill up, and that's fine. Nobody wants to force anyone to do what they're not comfortable with. But I think a lot of people did not realize, oh, these pennies really will matter. It's maybe 50 cents, this month. What does that matter? Well, it does. If everybody in Memphis each month is 50 cents, 40 cents, 30 cents, it's all going to add up and help the people who really need the help, which will help our whole community.
If you want to find out more about the program, go to mlgw.com/sharethepennies. As temperatures dip, you may want to ensure your gas heating equipment is working properly. MLGW is taking appointments for pilot light safety inspections. There is a $55 fee. The fee is waived for physically challenged customers and those who are 60 and older. Call 820-7878 and follow the prompts to schedule an inspection. Do you like the idea of knowing how much your utility bill is going to be even before you receive it? Well, sign up for MLGW's budget billing program. With budget billing, you'll know how much your bill will be and you pay the same amount each month. Signing up for budget billing is easy. When you enroll in the program, MLGW analyzes your previous year's total usage, adjusts for rate changes and weather conditions, and divides the total into 12 monthly installments. Sign up now. It's easy to apply. Call 544-6549. Visit one of MLGW's community offices or go online to mlgw.com to download an application. Are you looking for an even easier way of keeping up with your utility bill? Then look no further than your cell phone for MLGW text alerts. Customers can sign up to receive text message notifications of billing due dates and possible impending cutoffs. Customers can register for the program at mlgw.com/textalerts. To help keep emergency lines clear for those life-threatening situations, customers are reminded to use 528-4465 only for emergencies. MLGW deemed emergencies are considered things such as gas leaks, downed electric wires, broken water mains inside a building, or unsafe street barricades. If you need to stop, start, or transfer service, call the Customer Care Center at 820-7878, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Any other account inquiries can be addressed by calling 544-MLGW. And if typing rather than talking is more convenient for you, then you can get your questions answered with just the click of a mouse. MLGW's web chat feature for residential customers can be found at mlgw.com. Web chat is available for all residential customers from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Web chat provides a full range of service options, including the option to make payment arrangements. And as always, customers can send any of their utility-related questions and feedback to MLGW Customer Care at mlgw.org. MLGW has now added credit card machines to all of its community offices to expand payment options for customers. Customers can make those payments with Visa, MasterCard, or Discover Card. Credit card payments made at a community office are posted immediately. For your safety and to protect our employees, please remember to use caution when driving in a utility work zone. These zones located throughout the city don't have to be dangerous if you use caution. Many times you will see crews working near streets and highways when installing gas mains or working on overhead or underground power lines. Utility work zones are clearly marked with signs or work zone flaggers, so pay attention. And remember, speed limits may be reduced in work zones. Thanks for helping to keep our employees safe so we can do the best work for you. We've covered a lot in this edition of Memphis Energized. I hope you've learned a lot and will join us next time. And remember to join us online at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and at MLGW.com. On behalf of MLGW, our producers, and myself, I'd like to wish you a safe and prosperous holiday season. Thanks for watching.